Well, hey there, boys and girls, ladies and gents, theys and theirs. This is Tara Shapansky from the Polish-American Brotherhood and Adam Francisco from Be Free My Sheeple. And you're listening to the T&A Show, the Tara and Adam Show. Well, hey there, boys and girls, ladies and gents, theys and theirs. This is Tara Shapansky from the Polish-American Brotherhood and Adam Francisco from Be Free My Sheeple. And you're listening to the T&A Show, the Tara and Adam Show. Well, hey there, boys and girls, ladies and gents, theys and theirs. This is Tara Shapansky from the Polish-American Brotherhood and Adam Francisco from Be Free My Sheeple. And you're listening to the T&A Show, the Tara and Adam Show. Well, hey there, boys and girls, ladies and gents, theys and theirs. This is Tara Shapansky from the Polish-American Brotherhood and Adam Francisco from Be Free My Sheeple. And you're listening to the T&A Show, the Tara and Adam Show.
Late night edition. It's your host, Adam Soy Cisco. And I'm here with the beautiful Tara Shapansky.
Hey guys, happy evening, happy good evening from the Polish-American Brotherhood.
That's right. And we got Grayson Arnold, American Grayson, Pure Politics.
American Grayson. Put me back on the screen. Yeah, Pure Politics, on with the T&A Show. We have a great show tonight. We have a special guest as well in studio, don't we?
That's right.
Very special.
That's right.
Very special.
Sam.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Welcome to the studio and the show, Sam. We're excited to have you today. And we got some drama from CPAC that we wanted to talk about.
Oh, boy.
And
Big drama.
I'm probably the least involved in this drama because I didn't film it. I wasn't near it. I was a part of this. So let's hand it over to Grayson, who can kind of give us the background on what happened.
Yeah, so I'm going to start it off from the very beginning of the story of where it's the end of CPAC. We didn't get to see Trump's speech, so we're all sitting outside, and they let some people in. I got my guys. They're sitting on a couch. We're chilling, waiting to see what's happening afterwards. And I get a call from my father. I go talk with him. I'm sitting on a chair kind of a little bit away from him. So that's how everything got set up. I'm off the phone, and there's this guy that I've never seen before in my life standing right there, and he keeps getting uncomfortably closer. And I stand up, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? And he pulls out his phone and he shows me a picture of my Telegram. And he's like, is this you? And it's me in front of the Gettr booth. So I'm like, okay. And he gets even closer, like nose to nose. And I'm thinking, am I going to be sexually assaulted? Because there's a lot of homosexuals here at CPAC. And I just saw Scott Pressler. Scott Pressler. Great guy, but he was a little handsy with me, but still a great guy. And I was like, am I going to be sexually assaulted here? And like, no, I'm just going to be regularly assaulted, I found out. Seriously. And he starts like, you verbally assaulted my girlfriend, and I'm so angry, and you talking to her that way is so rude. And I'm just like, I'm not sorry about anything that I said in our debate at the Gettr booth, because I figured his pictures at the Gettr booth. And I thought it was really weird.
I'm going to go ahead and interject there because I was actually present with Grayson when he was talking to those at the ladies that were there at the Gettr booth. He did not verbally assault any of them. They just felt very mortified in being annihilated in this
debate.
conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, I was challenged them on all the foreign funding. I challenged them on the censorship, the rampant censorship throughout Gettr, because they claim that they're free speech. And I even brought up the entire, the First Amendment to free speech is not there to protect acceptable speech. It's there to protect offensive speech as well. And that's why we have the First Amendment. Because everybody would agree that we don't need to have a First Amendment if it's only there to protect acceptable speech, right? So anyways, it was a great debate. It was a great exchange is what I thought. And I guess it left some of them rattled that they didn't have any good responses to it. I didn't say anything rude to them. I just brought up facts. All of
Yeah,
that.
it was everything that had to do with Gettr's funding, foreign funding, and its rampant censorship. And they didn't also like that when you brought up like Nick Fuentes being
Yes, they banned Nicholas Fuentes. They banned the word Groyper for a time. And they were like, look, you can search up the word Groyper. It's back after they banned it for a couple weeks. Like, yeah, okay, that's really how free speech works, right? And no, it's not. Anyways, back to the story. So, yeah, there's the picture of me in front of the Gettr booth. I made a joke. She's not really calling security, but I was being a bit sensational because it's funny. And I like the picture of the Gettr, of the Twitter behind her, because Gettr's actually bankrupt. So in memoriam, right? And she's having a fun time. We liked her. She was really good at engaging. Actually,
she was nice.
Yeah, she was actually the smartest one of the bunch, surprisingly. And then this one, yeah, she's funny. She's having a good time too.
Oh yeah, somebody's even sticking their tongue out in the background. But it seemed like it was like all in good fun. I mean, the girls were like, you didn't win that debate. We just weren't able to get, you just didn't let us talk. And then I was telling Grayson afterwards, I'm like, this is a thing women tend to do, not effectively assert themselves in the debate. It's the same thing as like when you're going up and getting a picture with, of course, there's a lot of celebrities around at CPAC, and if you want to get a picture, you got to assert yourself to be able to go in there and get there. And so at the end of it, when all three of them were just saying, no, we didn't lose that debate, you just didn't let us talk. So that they spent maybe a minute talking about that, and I'm thinking you could just assert yourself and make a point right now. Even, but yeah, I didn't think they had anything effective to go against any of the information that you were presenting to them, and so everything was germane 100% to Gettr.
Well, it got a little bit emotional, actually.
Oh, yeah,
they started saying I sound like a Democrat and a liberal. That kind of made me smile because the people who know me, they were like, "You got mistaken for a liberal?" I'm just like, I love it. I love it.
But like in fast forwarding now to basically that conversation now translates to what happened on the next day. So I'll let you take the story from there.
Yeah, so he's nose to nose with me, and I was thinking, whatever, it's not a big deal. This guy's upset. He lays hands on me. He pushes me a little bit, and that's when I look over to my friends. I was like, you guys, this guy's trying to start something. So they all look over to make sure.
Got the video. Here it is.
No, this is before the video.
This is before, okay.
Yeah, this is
we'll
inside CPAC. This happened inside CPAC in the CPAC lobby. Security came over. They got between us. The guy was really agitated. He's basically yelling. And I'm telling security, this guy just laid hands on me. He's making me extremely agitated because he's coming at me very aggressive. I have no clue who this guy is. And security's like, okay, just separate, just move over there. And I'm like, he came over to me. I'm going to go over to my friends and make sure he doesn't come back. That's basically what I said. And so they escorted him out of there. And I thought, that's it. This is going to be done. I don't want to cause any problems. I love CPAC. This guy, he might have been drinking. Who knows? I didn't smell any alcohol on his breath, but his behavior was extremely strange. I thought that was the end of it. Anyways,
I was at this time. Since we weren't able to get into see Trump speak Adam and I were absolutely furious about this because CPAC oversold their tickets basically, and so a lot of people were not able to even get in to see Trump speak, and it's not cheap to be there at CPAC. Daily, it's $100, $300 for the admission, and a lot of people come to see Trump. So they oversold the event by quite a bit, evidently, and we weren't able to go inside. They cut off entry around almost an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours before Trump was scheduled to speak. They weren't allowing anybody else into the room for capacity reasons, and that's what security was telling us. So Adam and I were trying to see if there were other entrances that would allow us to get in. We were not able to, so there was a party that was going on over at Beth's Burger and Beer Burger Bar that was across the street from the Rosen Shingle Hotel. And so that's where we were at the time. And so Grayson came over to meet us over there. And so I'll let you continue on from that point.
Yeah, and I thought this exchange was finished. I was thinking, okay, this is a crazy guy. He's done. We're going to go have fun. I don't need to worry about somebody being retarded. I go over to Beth's Burger Bar. A lot of great friends there. Forgiato Blow was there. Bryson Gray. We were in a music video with who's music video? Ronnie J, who's the up and coming rapper. He actually has good music. I like it. So we're in a music video with that. And it's like we're just having a good time. There's a lot of other content creators, a lot of other people who report on the news, investigative journalists, reporters, and it was a great group of people over there. But we're sitting outside. I'm smoking a cigar with one of the Pure Politics guys, the marketing director, and or smoking a cigar, and this guy comes up. I see him again. He makes eye contact with me, and I was like, oh, what the hell? He beelines it straight for me, pushes me as I'm getting up. I almost fall down, and I'm glad this part didn't get on video because it kind of makes me look weak. But because of that push, because of him being extremely aggressive and physically assaulting me, we had Sam Hyde was actually the recorder here, and he pulled out the phone and started recording, and this is the video.
All right, let me pull this up.
You guys have it? I have it ready if you guys want.
All right.
Oh, he has it.
How could you be sober and
Wait.
nobody knows you here? Turn off the camera.
No.
You guys are such pussies. You start filming, try and dox me like
I'm not doxing anybody. I just for self-defense.
self-defense.
Yeah. You might say you just touched him first. Yeah. Don't touch me, dude. Don't touch me.
Let the thought. Well, it is. What do you think you're doing? Fucking pussy. Said the guy who look at me. My friend right here. Take care of him before he ends up in jail. Jail? Well, you're the one in jail. I was sitting down and came over here. Yo, that's assault right there. Listen to your friend before you end up in jail.
You might want to get him.
Look at that alpha male move by him with
I
belly
don't know
pressing.
who he is. Like, do you have like somebody, like bouncer or something? I don't know, dude. Like, it's like.
That's assault. You gotta get it here. I haven't touched him at all.
Do y'all know him?
It's been me. It's been doing the touch. Believe me. I do not know this guy at all. And if you haven't had nuts.
So he's basically trying to get me to hit him. Is what I thought was going on, because I'm like, he pushed me really aggressively coming up, and then the second push, my body was more rigid, but he still was like kind of like trying to knock me over, and I'm like, this guy is absolutely nuts.
No, nobody has the right to ever touch you. So like when that is assault, if a person's touching you and he's coming at you aggressively, so from what I saw, like I was inside when this had happened, and Grayson sent me a message.
I got ash on my suit.
Yeah, he sent me a text saying he got ash on my suit. So like this was a second separate incident that he came and assaulted you, and I came outside and I actually knew the guy. I recognized him, and so when you pointed him out to me, I was like, John? And I walked over to him to talk to him and tell him, like, you don't have the right to touch another person. You guys stay your separate areas if you both are going to stay here. Like, and I'm like, are you nuts? You can go to jail for touching a person, for assaulting a person, and he was not to be reasoned with, because I was trying to see if we can de-escalate the situation, but he was not reasonable at all. Even when I was talking to him.
Didn't he threaten you when you were trying to de-escalate the situation? And you didn't tell me because you didn't want things to like get out of hand.
Right. I didn't tell you the contents of the words that he had said to me at that moment, because I didn't feel like that would facilitate in de-escalating the situation further between the two of you guys. So, but he was not reasonable in anything that he was saying, and even the crowd that he was with, they just seemed quite embarrassed by it all. But another thing I didn't like, so I guess like the girl and him are together, and so he was, I don't know, the whole situation was really strange to me, because like what I particularly didn't like though was that since I was present there during the exchange that you guys had at the Gettr booth, everything was completely appropriate that you were saying, and so she basically accused you of verbally assaulting her.
Yeah, let's bring up the tweet. I have it right here.
Yeah. So,
and as for our viewers, Sam, the guy in the sunglasses, the good-looking, handsome man in the sunglasses, he's the guy that filmed the altercation. So that's to give you guys some context about who he is. And one of our viewers here says that John looks like he's never done push-ups before.
But I just want to quickly go back to like her accusing you of verbally assaulting her, which I was present for. Nothing that you said was inappropriate by any means, and this lays to, like, it makes me think of the whole like Me Too movement though, because and how like she accused you of verbally assaulting her when it was nothing personal. It was nothing like you said nothing that had to do with her. Everything was related to Gettr, and she basically lost a debate. She got annihilated in the debate that she then transferred over to saying that she was verbally assaulted, which I think that's wrong as a woman to be accusing, because it's a serious matter when a woman is verbally accosted or anything, when it's inappropriate. But by all means, like anything that was said was completely related to Gettr. So that made me wonder, like, oh, what is Gettr even hiding more? Because like it made absolutely no sense for it to be escalating from something that was a debate to a physical like altercation.
And that's the problem with the Me Too movement. It turns typical just debates, intellectual debates, into this guy assaulted me and now my boyfriend has to go assault him to defend my honor.
Yeah, because when they're saying that Me Too is like all women have to be
trust all women, trust all women.
And
somebody
it's
pointed
not
out
true.
somebody pointed out that Antifa does something similar, of where they have the women who have Antifa, they go out and they create this like big hullabaloo and they make up these lies and stuff. Then they tell the men about like, oh, I was assaulted by these fascists, and they get their male Antifa all worked up to go out and beat people up. And it's like, it probably works the same way on both sides.
Yeah, because like when I went to talk to John, he was like, "Oh, it's worth going to jail for." I'm like, I was like, John, I don't want to see you go to jail. Nobody here wants to see you go to jail. You don't have the right to touch anybody. You don't have the right to be touching Grayson. And yeah, I don't know. That was such like a weird.
It would be an embarrassing trip to jail because like Tara hangs off of these arms like a monkey sometimes.
Okay, but anyway, so the plot gets thickens actually, guys. So we found out, our friend sent us later on, that this guy was actually searching for Grayson during CPAC. So like that makes me worry about like in terms of the safety, the safety at CPAC as well, because like he was actually stalking Grayson. And let's go ahead and bring up what he was. Yeah,
this is from the Gettr booth too. This is because Gettr was so upset about me accusing them of taking Chinese money, of all things. So let's bring up the tweet. Does anyone on right-wing Twitter know a groyper named Grayson or Grayson who is attending CPAC in Orlando? He has a fat Asian GF. I need to speak with him.
You for that.
He verbally assaulted Kingsley Cortez, and inshallah, you all know what comes next.
What does that even mean?
It's a veiled threat. That's what it is. It's a vague threat. And you can see that it's from a locked account. This was given to me because he has a history of doing this, and the people that are close to him kind of want him to stop doing this, and they feel like this could be the help. This could be leading to the help that he needs, which I hope that he gets.
Inshallah means if Allah wills it.
Yeah.
God.
Is this guy a Muslim?
No, I think it's just like a meme kind of thing.
So it's a creep shot actually, and he was stalking me through CPAC trying to find me so he could, I guess, assault me, because that's what it ultimately ended up as.
Yeah, he ended up doing that twice.
Yeah.
I will say that I did notice that the girl in the photo who was on the phone there, she did kind of follow me around a little bit at CPAC.
I
swear she was following
you down? Me. Oh my God.
I saw her behind me a couple times. I mean, it could have just been coincidence.
Grayson, it's all because they don't want you asking these type of questions.
No,
and
they don't.
Well, let's just add a little more context to this, guys. The CEO, Jason Miller of Gettr, went on Timcast's podcast. I hope Timcast hopes he'll be as big as us one day. And Timcast basically held the guy's feet to the fire and asked him directly, why would you throw off Nick Fuentes if he didn't actually violate any terms and conditions on your platform? Even though Nick Fuentes gets banned by all the platforms, what did he do on Gettr that would get him thrown off? And Jason Miller said, well, he posted where my groyper's at. That is the first thing that Nick Fuentes said.
Because they banned the word groypers.
So then Timcast said to Jason Miller, well, what's a groyper? Mm-hmm. And Jason Miller's like, well, I'm not really sure, but I think it's a white nationalist. And Timcast is like, well, do you have evidence of that? Like, where's the proof that that's how they're describing themselves? Mm-hmm. And Jason Miller's like, well, I'm not really sure if there is. And then Timcast is like, well, then your terms and conditions seem a little messy here. So that's what Grayson was alluding to. They threw off Nick Fuentes. Think what you want of him, but he did not violate any of their terms and conditions as far as I'm concerned on Gettr. So it is a problem. They're supposed to be free speech, and they're not. They're not honoring their word.
There's groypers of every single race and ethnicity in the movement. Bryson Gray as well. I mean, he doesn't identify as a groyper, but he hangs out with a lot of groypers. I don't identify as a groyper, but I hang out with a lot of groypers, and I like them. They're very nice guys. And I've met blacks, Latinos, Asians, everybody in between the entire color spectrum of groypers. So it's like, if they're a white nationalist movement, I mean, that's the most racially diverse movement ever.
Let's also dive now deeper into the accusations of Gettr that you were presenting to presenting to the, I guess we'll call them the Gettr girls. Grayson, you sent me an article about what's her name, Boyden or
Ebony Bowden.
Bowden. Okay, let's go ahead and bring that article up. I had it loaded on the iPad. Adam, if you can switch to that
was
article.
that was supposed to be?
She's the communications director.
Or if you go to my Twitter, that's the last
we're seeing
that I have out there.
We're seeing a pattern of behavior because we have Kingsley Cortez, who is somewhat incompetent for all the money that is being pumped into Gettr. The deputy to the CEO should have been able to have a higher quality booth, especially for Gettr, who helped fund CPAC this year and had their name everywhere. But their booth was like something out of an amateur hour. And no offense to the girls working for it, I think they did a good job sitting there, but they weren't very well versed on challenging people about some of the controversial topics Gettr has put themselves into. And their booth was so lackluster. It should have been higher quality. There were other people that had been there, and they had way better booths. So
now, even the communications director for Gettr, she's also not said exactly the right thing. So if the employees at the booth are any example of the quality of people, I guess if you are representing a company, you should definitely be able to answer the type of questions that you are asking. So I know we called Gettr a honeypot for the type of people that they are hiring. You have further examples of it that we'll go ahead and discuss.
Yeah, let's bring up that article with Ebony Bowden.
So here it is right here, guys, from Daily Veracity. Gettr Global Communications Director Ebony Bowden, anti-Trump, eeks, pro-Obama past revealed. So apparently there's some receipts that this woman has spoken out against former President Donald Trump and supporter of Hillary Clinton and praising the liberal Barack Obama. So Ebony Bowden, who is the global communications director of Gettr, is not the sort of conservative Americans are looking for as they seek a platform offering the elusive free speech they were promised in their constitution. And here she is talking about Trump. Trump's behavior at the G7 is genuinely frightening. We've long laughed at him, but reading this coverage, I can't help but feel like the United States is careening towards disaster. That's pretty anti-Trump. Mm-hmm. Glad to see she only got one like and one retweet. So Trump is in the UK playing golf and won't meet with any leaders. Wow, so presidential.
That's very left-wing right there.
That's pretty anti-Trump. Some legend has written a gay Donald Trump erotica novel, and it's a 10 out of 10. That's pretty liberal type of comment. I still get so sad when I see Hillary Clinton. I want to live in the alternate universe where she became president. Now, I will say, I am looking at these timestamps, and she is a obviously former liberal. I mean, she's from New York. It says it in her profile. She's a former New Yorker. So that's,
Does she identify as a conservative now?
Yeah. I guess if you work for Gettr, you kind of have to.
So I got to point out, the thing that started this entire article and the deep dive into who she was is because she started talking about very liberal things in 2020. She started saying like all these types of people are white supremacists, white nationalists, and accusing just normal conservative platforms, normal conservative talking points such as immigration as white nationalism. And that's what got the microscope on her in the first place.
Yeah. So, you know, I want to say that maybe she had an awakening. What was this? Kind of like we had, Tara, because we're former liberals. Mm-hmm. You know, you were a Hillary Clinton voter, 2016. Yeah. And I was going to vote for Hillary in 2016.
Same.
And really? You too, Sam?
Yeah, really.
So we got three Democratic 2016 voters, potential voters here, and none of us associate that way anymore. So I'm going to say that maybe she did change her thoughts. But now I'm seeing this article from here, from 2020, like Grace was saying, downcast Trump makes baseless claims. I don't want to read that out loud because I don't want to get any strikes on YouTube. But obviously she's not on the side of the Trump, even in 2020. So
no,
now I'm confused why she's working for Gettr. She should work for Twitter.
Is Gettr, like, I'm not on Gettr, so is Gettr supposed to be just conservatives, or like what's the deal with it?
It's supposed to be free speech for everybody.
The people who are being censored right now are usually conservatives.
But
that's why it applies to them.
Right. But it
seems
attracts.
like they're not truly free speech. They're just like censoring different things that Twitter is doing, right?
Yeah, Tim Pool went through their terms and conditions and said that they're very similar sounding to Twitter. Mm-hmm. That there's really not much difference between the terms and conditions. And they
apply them arbitrarily, especially with the Groyper thing, because the Groyper thing didn't violate terms and conditions. It was just an arbitrary. He didn't like it.
Right. I don't know. I think at some point they want to be free speech like Gab or Rumble, but yet they want to appease their corporate investors. Because I think Grayson was going to talk about that. There's like foreign funding.
Chinese. Yeah, there's foreign funding. They have Islamic investors now because Guo Wengwei, everybody knows this Miles Guo here. Guo Wengwei is actually a CCP spy. I can say that with absolute fact because the guy came here. He got under federal investigation because he's like, I'm a Chinese dissident and I'm a billionaire and the CCP is trying to assassinate me or take away my money, whatever it is. He came here, he looked up a list of other Chinese dissidents, the very powerful ones who are actively working against the CCP here in America, and he sent that list back to the mainland China, and that's what got him under federal investigation under the Trump administration in the first place. So now he's investing a lot of his money into these supposedly conservative social networking apps and building this huge database of all these people.
Yeah. So I think that they're trying to play both sides of the coin. They're trying to appease to conservatives, but they're being backed and funded by people, globalists. And that's the problem.
Yeah, globalist is the right term about it. A lot of people think because he wants to start the new Federation of China because he's invested in all that, they think, oh, he's anti-CCP and he talks all this mad smack about him and says all these things that we agree with, that he must be actually anti-CCP. But in order for him to gain the trust of all the people he's trying to look up and send information back on, he has to say these things. And we can see that he's not entirely genuine by the fact that he got caught sending this info back. And it begs the question, why would you even send it back in the first place? Why would you not join sides with a lot of these other dissidents?
Now, you bringing up all this information to the Gettr booth is what ultimately ended up getting you assaulted. Yeah,
she was really upset about that, Cortez. And to me, it didn't make sense. To me, it's like you're working for the deputy CEO. You are the deputy CEO working for Jason Miller. You should be aware of where your funding is coming from and who is funding it. And one thing that I noticed, Guo Wengwei doesn't speak very good English. In China, the Chinese will tell you one thing in English, and they will tell you something entirely different in Chinese. And Guo Wengwei is probably doing the exact same here through his translator. His translator, of course, is very loyal to him. You don't choose a translator who's going to betray you to somebody you're having a private meeting with. So he communicates mainly through a translator to a bunch of people who don't speak Chinese, and they have to trust him on his word. And being in China, I learned that you need to learn Chinese. You need to be able to speak the Chinese because they are not going to tell you the truth unless you can speak their language.
I got another article here from the Denver Gazette, and it says Trump supporters are furious that Getter's new flack, Ebony Bowden, was a Trump hater. It sounds like she still is, though.
Yeah, that's what
like the things you're saying in 2020, by that time, if you weren't red pilled, you're not red pilled now. Actually, let me take that back. You'd be red pilled now because of Biden's performance, right? Like that, everyone's getting red pilled right now. But I don't see, I feel like in 2020 when the election was happening, it's just weird to me that she was against Trump in that situation.
Yeah,
I would want someone that supports Trump in that one topic that we're not allowed to talk about.
Right, exactly. I think people can have whatever opinions that they do have, but the thing is, when you're in the current age that we're living at, what people are posting on their social medias and their private accounts is being used either for or against them when it comes to their professional career and job. So there isn't, at this point, there is no separation between personal and private. Everybody, in a sense, is an Insta celebrity. You don't get a privacy separation. So she's always representing Gettr. Right. Even in her own personal account, she's always representing Gettr.
Especially as a communications director. She's the global communications director. Should already know she's always representing Gettr. It's just, to me, I worked in China. I was the marketing director for a Chinese app and games creating company. And I knew for a fact, me in my private life, because of my position, was representative of the company as well. And she is way higher level than me, with the global communications director on an app funded by a billionaire who recently filed for bankruptcy. Gettr is going to file for bankruptcy. They're looking for funding from the Islamic people now. But when you're in that position as a communications director, you know that every single word that you say from your official account, from your regular account, is going to be taken as words that represent the company. And I even knew that as a marketing manager.
So here's Jason Miller's explanation for why they hired never Trumper. We're open to users from all parties, ideologies, backgrounds, and cultures, and our team reflects a broad coalition of free speech advocates. We refuse to be an echo chamber. And this is part of what separates us from unsuccessful platforms who have previously challenged the stranglehold monopoly that big tech has on social media. So from his perspective, he's trying to say we don't want to be like Twitter where everyone's liberal. We want to be a platform where we have conservatives and liberals.
But it sounds like if they're going to be censoring the groypers, they're no better.
Exactly.
They're no better.
They're forming a different type of... That's what Tim Cass was alluding to.
Yeah, they're forming a different type of echo chamber, but it's still an echo chamber.
Right. It's still got to be approved by the globalists that are going to accept the agenda or not. So, I mean, look, I have a Gettr account. I might have used it 10 times total. There's too many platforms out there. That's to keep up with.
Better ones too.
Yeah, there's just too many right now to keep up with.
It's the same thing. It's just rebranded. It's just repackaged.
Right.
It's almost like people talk about the female fee. Like, oh, it's the same shampoo, but it's in a pink bottle and you pay more. Well, this is like that, but with social media.
Hey, exactly.
Yeah, it's fake.
I just feel like you got to pick your 2 or 3 platforms that you're going to just be loyal to and just focus on those. Because otherwise, if you're by yourself doing it, it's tough. Grayson, he's gone with Telegram because he was kind of forced to, right? Because that's the only one that gives you some kind of freedom.
Well, I was doing well on Twitter until I said something about J6, and then boom, they nuked my entire Twitter hardware ban.
Right.
You know which social I'm excited for?
With Truth?
Truth Social.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm still waiting on the freaking waiting list. But for me, it's been YouTube, Rumble, and TikTok. Those are my 3. And now Instagram I'm getting back into again because I'm out of the shadow ban on Be Free My Sheeple only.
I got to check up with what's going on my Odyssey. The thing is, what's very convenient about that is it's linked up to my YouTube, so it's automatically uploading everything I'm having from YouTube onto my Odyssey. So there's not much maintenance that's involved. And now that they're past the beta phase for Rumble, we're streaming now onto Rumble, and so actually that I can see that kind of growing.
I will say this about social media. The future is actually pretty good for social media. All these companies that are coming out, they're trying to like kind of grift a little bit, but there's a lot of alternatives. You mentioned Odyssey. There's also things like PeerTube where the files are not hosted on people's servers, like company servers. You host those files yourself, and people download those videos from you directly. It's like a torrent system. So there's all kinds of cool stuff coming out. That's cool. It's going to be awesome.
And wait till the blockchain gets involved with this stuff. Although that is a little scary, the blockchain for social media.
What do you mean?
Because blockchain is like a ledger that can't be altered or changed, right? So imagine you're a 13-year-old kid and you're shit posting on, Instagram or whatever it is, and it's on the blockchain. Well, 25 years from now, they can go back and be like, "Did you say this?" There's no such thing as a delete button. But that's good and bad, right?
There is no such thing as a delete button.
The good news is that it'll make people like think this is a permanent posting, so you'll be a little bit more thoughtful.
You would hope, but I think like a lot of young people don't consider the implications and ramifications their messages are going to have in the future. And also culture changes. Here's the thing, something that we said.
Culture change, right?
Yeah.
I was about to say that.
Society and culture changes.
So I don't know about you guys. I'm 38. I think I'm the oldest one in the room by far, right? Yeah. So when I was in high school, I'm just going to be honest, a lot of us use the word, G-A-Y, that's gay. We would call things gay. Like, oh, that's so gay, you're so gay. It had nothing to do with sexuality. It was just kind of like, that's
slang.
stupid or that's silly.
Yeah,
it was
that was
slang.
the slang that was used at the time.
Right. Now, you don't say that anymore. Mm-hmm. You can't say that anymore. And that's an example of culture shifting.
And the funny part is, even if you apologize, usually it's not good enough. Right. Everyone said it back then. Even if you apologize, it's like a new sin. It's a new commandment in the Bible or something.
Right.
It's like, that's it.
Every time someone brings it up, it's like you reset it all over from scratch.
Yeah, it's
You're
crazy.
Scratch.
You have to walk on eggshells.
Yeah, that's the thing when you're using today's standards for things that were back in the past. Like you can't apply a standard. We supposedly know more today or whatever has shifted with our culture, but when, for example, people were doing blackface like in the movies and everything way back when, and now they're going to be canceled for today's standards.
Except Robert Downey Jr.
Supposedly okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Except Robert Downey Jr.
Which begs the question, why?
Well, I actually read a detailed article about it. It's because Robert Downey Jr. wasn't doing blackface. He was doing an actor doing blackface. So there's a layer in between him doing blackface.
Give it 5 to 10 years.
No, I think he got away with it. He was actually nominated for like a best supporting actor.
Yeah, he was for that role.
That's how much he was loved in that role, which is kind of crazy.
Is it that, or is it like Grayson was saying, everything's kind of arbitrary? Terms and services are arbitrary. It really depends on the people and not the terms.
Yeah,
it's true. I mean, right here, one of our viewers, Aerodynamic1, who this is a new username to me, so welcome to our channel, said it wouldn't matter if they weren't 100% free speech as long as they were more even in their terms of service enforcement. That's, I think, a pretty decent point.
Yeah.
if you're kicking off liberals as much as conservatives.
Well, they welcomed the SPLC onto their platform after permanently banning Nicholas Fuentes. Nick live streamed himself getting banned several times and not even posting anything. And then they welcomed these people, the SPLC, who have slandered and lied. The Southern Poverty Law Center, they have claimed that Christianity is an extremist organization. And they say that Christian churches all throughout America support white supremacy and white nationalism. And they actually advocate for people to go out and shut these places down. They're very anti-white, and they're extremely anti-Christian. The SPLC is part of the Antichrist structure.
Aren't most Black Americans and Latino Americans also Christian or Catholics?
Yeah,
it's true.
So I just don't understand that logic of, and all the churches where they have like the singing and everything.
It's Baptist.
The Baptist.
They just don't like Christianity. The SPLC hates it.
I actually
it doesn't make any sense to me.
I just pulled up the SPLC, and it says Christian identity is a unique anti-Semitic and racist theology that rose to a position of commanding influence on the racist right in the 1980s. Christian in name only, it asserts that white people, not Jews, are the true Israelites favored by God in the Bible. The movement's relationship with the evangelicals and fundamentalists has generally been hostile due to the latter's belief that the return of Jews to Israel is essential to the fulfillment of end-time prophecy.
These are the people that was welcomed onto Gettr who still have free reign to spread this type of anti-Christ propaganda.
I remember that Gettr girl. She said, we don't accept any form of hate speech or hate groups. Well, this looks like a hate group to me.
Well, they also have a lot of black supremacy groups that are on these platforms. I mean, I've seen my own eyeballs very anti-white posts by Black Americans on Twitter. And it seems to be okay, like totally fine on the platform, no problem.
Yeah, when they're claiming, for example, how CRT is racist, no, it's explicitly anti-white.
Right, that's the problem.
Do you remember when Instagram came out with those voice chat rooms? That was recently? Yeah, there was a bunch of people talking like that.
That's what I'm talking about. It was on Twitter. Was it Twitter?
Was it Twitter?
I think it was Twitter.
Okay, yeah, it was probably Twitter. Yeah.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
The voices.
Yeah, and those rooms are even labeled
voices.
Exactly. Those rooms are even labeled very openly racist things, and they were still like it's not even hidden. Yeah.
I saw on Libs of TikTok. Let me see if I could find this on Libs of TikTok. It was on Twitter. We might have to come back to this, but I cannot believe that this is allowed on TikTok. Some of the stuff that they put up there is unbelievably racist, and it's encouraged by the platform. Let me see if I can find. I might need a minute, guys, but it's probably worth watching.
So I want to go back to the Gettr thing and make a statement real quick about what happened, and we can go to the tweet. Bring up the tweet real quick again.
Yeah, go back to Gettr
from John Wilson. Because Kingsley Cortez, the deputy to the CEO, initiated this entire assault saga, I'm going to hold Gettr personally responsible for this. She's a representative of the company, and she sent this guy after me, who's even taken it upon himself to name him. He named himself in his profile a Gettr goon. So I think I'm going to hold Gettr personally responsible for this since it came from the top.
This is not very professional at all. You can't you can't be a free speech platform, and your method of dealing with problems is not speech. It's violence. Actually, that's ridiculous.
And they should have talking points kind of prepared for this stuff. I mean,
these are not new accusations that I brought up with them. These aren't new things that they didn't know about. This is very common criticisms that they've been getting ever since they started.
When you think of it, Gettr's worse than all the other social medias. Other social medias will cancel you. Grayson, you actually ended up getting assaulted because of your opinions and bringing forward the facts. So Gettr's actually worse because they're going to send Gettr goons after you to physically assault you if you say something that they don't like.
That's crazy. That's kind of fascism.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like you insult our platform, we're going to come after you and silence you.
In real life.
In real life.
Permanently.
That's crazy.
Silence in real life.
So I found that the post, this is on TikTok. This person says, "Dear white people, if the government doesn't give black people reparations, bad things will happen to you." Just a straight up threat. Here, let's put the audio on. Can we put the audio on?
Wait a moment.
Let's see if we can play. I think it's at the end she says it.
Is the audio going? Wait, hold up.
The interesting thing is this happens so often.
We
You
don't
wouldn't
get our
believe it.
reparations soon.
Oh, there we go.
It's going to be bad. We're done talking about what happened. We all know what happened. Critical race theory, all of the... Hey. Get us run us our money. Run us our money. Run us our money, because in a minute, it's going to be very bad. It's going to be very bad. And I don't know what's going to happen to you, white people. I don't know what's going to happen to you. We're running out of time. Okay, we're running out of time.
Yeah.
So that's just a straight up threat.
Yeah, it is.
And even in the copy right there above with the letters, it says white people, YT. And she spells it like that to avoid the censorship. Because if they spelled it WHITE, it might get picked up and flagged.
I'm gonna challenge you on that a bit. I actually see this quite a lot, regardless of censorship. It's just how the black community tends to shorten certain words, and it's a very common slang within it.
No, I actually agree with.
It could be both.
Okay.
Yeah, it can be both.
It could be both. It could be they want to shorten it for the purpose of slang, but it could also be to avoid. It could have been we need to have the slang to avoid the censors. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be both.
Who knows? But the other spelling of white people that they use is WIPYPO.
Yeah, white people.
White people.
That's probably more of a slang thing, actually.
That's the slang thing. But they also do use that to avoid censorship.
And it works.
And it works.
Yeah.
So, this stuff exists all over these mainstream platforms, anti-whiteness, where they literally threaten the lives of white Americans. And not a specific white American, by the way. They're not saying to you, Sam, screw you, we're going to come out. They're saying all white people.
Yeah.
So, and how is this allowed? I have no freaking idea.
I think she learned this from like school or something. She's a product of our current school system or something, man. I don't know where she got this information. Otherwise, she would have never heard of these things owed to her. Where did she get this? Who told her this? Not her mom and dad, I bet you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand the whole concept of reparations. Like, everyone's history has trauma.
Yeah,
Everybody's
everybody, every race, ethnicity, tribe, everybody throughout all of history has been enslaved and has enslaved others. They all have a history of what's going on. And you look at the people who let this stuff go and they continue to build and create, and they're the ones who end up having successful civilizations, successful communities. And focusing on this victimization narrative of people who have never had it happen to them in their lives, who have benefited from the success and the wealth and the safety and security of our nation, trying to resort back to this victimhood ideology when they've never actually experienced it. It's actually detrimental to their own communities. It's just insane that the people are going to go and be a victim about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think of because when people are when they go back to talking about slavery and everything, I'm just like, were you personally a slave? Like, the victimhood is a state of mind. Like, if you allow yourself to be oppressed by your own, because then you're not going to focus on the future. When people are focusing so much on the past, you're never going to be able to be moving forward.
Thomas Sowell brings this up in I think white rednecks or black rednecks and white liberals, and he talks about everybody was super patriotic back then. They weren't as rich. They didn't have people were still racist to them, but they're very patriotic and they're very hardworking. And it wasn't until the civil rights and LBJ's great society that stuff started to go downhill. That now we no longer love this country. Now that we have all this wealth and equality, we're going to start shitting on everything, and we're going to be total victimhoods about everything. And it's like, it seems as if that there was some sort of coordinated effort to instill victimhood and what do they call it when you're jealousy in these people towards the ones who were benevolent enough to create a society where they benefited so greatly from it. And Thomas Sowell brings this up in a great way in his book, and I just think he makes really good points about where the black community used to be in the past and how hardworking and patriotic they are, and then where they have headed to now in modern day times of where they hate this country. The majority of them hate this country. Not all. Hashtag not all. And they all feel like they're oppressed in some way, that there's some sort of systemic white supremacy that's oppressing them and keeping them down, when in reality it's their own inability to create.
Yeah, I know, like, Grace and you and I were talking about, like, my experience when I had gotten attacked by Antifa last year. That's not exactly what I want as my claim to fame, because like, even Adam, you'll bring up that sometimes when you're introducing me as my claim to fame, and then I've told you, like, don't do that. I don't want to get. I've represented the USA at 3 international competitions, and F my life if the thing that I'm getting known for is getting attacked. I'm not the victim. I'm going to be known for achievement in my life, and not because I was the victim of a crime. That's not how I'm going to define myself or present myself to the world, and it's certainly not going to be my achievement of being attacked by Antifa. F Antifa.
But it's pretty funny when I do that.
Yeah, it's pretty funny though.
So yeah, the thing about reparations is, like, I have this article up here, just as a fact check. But, you know, me being a Mexican American by blood, and I did a D-Day test. I actually did it here with you, Tara. We did our D-Day test. And it turns out I have some Spanish blood. That wasn't by choice. My people were colonized. Some ancestors of mine were colonized by the Spaniards. Do I get reparations? Like, you know, where does it end?
Yeah.
Where does it end? Like, look at this. The Spaniards came in. They took away the entire language of Mexico, which was like Tehuatl. And now we speak Spanish because of this, you know, of Spain. You know, the raping, the pillaging, the taking over, the conquesting.
Yeah,
but I'm not going to ask for reparations. That was before my lifetime. I wasn't colonized.
Yeah,
and
the thing is, when
you're
they're blankly like going to be affording reparations, for example, to like black people, not even in their own ancestry, where they even have like slavery in their ancestry. Like some were immigrants coming in from, you know, from the Caribbean or from Africa, but they don't have a lineage of deserving, in a sense, if one deserves reparations, but then you just afford it to everyone by the color of their skin. I mean, like, what does that even mean?
That opens up a whole can of worms, though, of who do they extract reparations from? The vast majority of Americans did not own slaves. The vast majority of Americans weren't even involved in it. And they want to redistribute taxes from the white working class to the black Americans.
But what if those white working class freed the slaves? What if they have ancestors that freed the slaves or abolished slavery?
It opens this whole can of worms of like who pays into who, and essentially we need to move past this. We did. We used to be moved past this. The 1990s was very much a post-racial American society, and it was great. We had great jokes coming out. Dave Chappelle was like having the black white supremacist joke, which still is amazing today. Everybody laughs at it, and it's very much. Who ends up paying? A vast majority of people didn't participate in it. The vast majority of people who will be getting the money from those who didn't participate don't have any ancestry for it. So it's like you need to move past your ancestral victimization. Like Adam was saying, it's like, yeah, that happened 500 years ago in America. 1866, black Americans were recognized as citizens of the United States of America. And how many years has it been since then? Multiple generations. These people need to move past it, and they need to start creating things, taking care in their community, creating things in their community, and they're going to build up very strong networks like they had in the 1940s and the 1950s. I mean, America was arguably a much more racist and unequal society in the 1950s, but they had much stronger black communities, much wealthier black communities, less blacks born out of wedlock, and even the entire American society itself was better off back then, even though things weren't politically correct or as equal as they are nowadays.
Well, they say that the marriage rates between white Americans and black Americans were very similar until the civil rights movements, which is when there was a strong deviation between the groups, and black Americans tended to not get married as much and also have a lot of single parent households. So Grayson is right. There was closer. It's funny. We were a more racist society in the 50s, and yet black Americans, white Americans were more equal in, net worth and family values.
And the things that matter, actually.
Right. And then sometime, because of mostly Democratic policies and people like Joe Biden that passed the 1994 crime bill, which over-criminalized young black men and took fathers out of the household, put them in jail for low-level, drug offenses, nonviolent, at that. They've done a great job of just destroying down the black community. And Candace Owens obviously speaks about this a lot, that it's a lot of the Democratic policies. They hide behind social justice warriors, and they leave behind a trail of devastation.
I'm not so much against the crime bill. I am against the fact that they took fathers out of the home. They took Christianity out of the black community through government. They wanted to replace God with the government. And we're seeing the fruits of that, which is high crime, rape, murder, drug abuse. When before you could have a mother and a father, the government doesn't have to get involved. You're probably a little bit poorer, but the fact that you have a mom and a dad creates a much stronger network. It creates a much better childhood. And you could actually own a home. You had God in that home, Christianity specifically. And it was much better. The 1990s crime bill was trying to address a symptom of the disease. So you're treating the symptoms instead of the disease itself. So it's not exactly a very bad thing. It's just that it addressed the wrong thing that was happening in that community.
And I would also like to see hip-hop kind of shift their perspective and stop rapping about WAP.
Well, who owns the music labels? You got to ask.
Of course. I know exactly who it is. But the thing is, I understand that people want to make.
Can we say who it is?
No,
are we not allowed to say who it is? Okay, we all know who it is, though, right?
Well, that's not true for. I mean, there are black producers too. I mean, Dr. Dre is considered a record label owner, and he's still putting out sometimes Thug's rap.
Okay, hashtag not all, but who owns the majority of the big name music labels?
Right. I understand it's white Americans. I get that. But my point is that
white,
right? White Americans.
Yeah.
What are we shaking our heads for? No. Who owns the record labels?
Let's check it out.
I'm gonna Google this.
Yeah, go home and Google it.
I'm doing it right now.
Everyone, go home and Google this.
Owners. Let's see.
Check the early life section.
Here's the thing: none of us are coming on saying it because we're letting the viewer do their own research.
Yeah, check out the early life.
Because if you actually say it, it's going to be something that's considered racist, and it's
we should move on before we get a strike.
Yeah,
on the
it's going to shut us down.
Because
so it's something that everybody else can Google for themselves.
Yeah, and
I'm looking it up right now. Hold on.
Who owns YouTube? Yeah, don't get us a strike. But who owns YouTube? It's a very specific tribe.
All right, that's as close as we get.
Okay,
right?
so all right, here we go. Here are the top 5. We got Glenn Blavatnik, who is, what is that kind of last name? Blavatnik.
It's a very white last name.
You might have changed.
I think it's Russian. So we have that. Then we have Vincent Bollore.
Very white again.
That's an Italian. Bollore. That's an Italian. It looks like, or Latino. We have Ma Huatang, who is a Chinese person.
Damn Chinese.
We have John Malone, who just sounds like an American guy, and Greg Maffei, which sounds like just an American guy.
Don't check the early life for any of these.
And then we have Kenichiro Yoshida, who is Japanese. So I think you guys were alluding that it's owned by Jews, and there's not a single Jew in this list.
Nobody said that, by the way.
Nobody said that.
That's what I think. But that's what I think you guys were alluding to, and it's clearly wrong. And even I was wrong when I said white Americans.
Don't look at the early life, you guys.
But I'm just saying, I'm literally pulling up
You're
Rolling
reading
Stone
from Rolling Stone,
right?
Yeah.
But this is the record label. This is the richest record
Rolling
label.
Stones is a very
Anyways, let's get back on subject of where we were talking about how we want to see rap music have better values.
Here we go. Record labels run by musicians.
He's on it.
No, here we go. I'm trying to fact check. So far you guys were all wrong, 0-5, and now let's go for this one. Let's go for this one. 11 reprise Frank Sinatra, Tangerine Ray Charles, The Beatles, Frank Zappa.
No.
Prince.
The Beatles actually had a huge
Superchunk, Madonna, Beastie
where
Boys.
They talked about
Jay-Z.
this tribe owning their music.
Yeah.
Jack
huge
White.
Controversy
You can
about
look
it.
up the Beatles one.
Kanye West.
Look up the Beatles one. The Beatles actually got in trouble for pointing out the tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all I'm saying is
Michael Jackson as well. Michael Jackson was probably assassinated by the tribe because he was getting more vocal about who was actually profiting off of his music.
all I'm saying is what your theories are based on.
And
The
you
two
can
articles that we
look up
looked
Michael
at
Jackson.
are false. Your what you guys replied is
conspiracy.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
it's conspiracy.
It's all false.
Apparently,
It's all false.
don't research this. Don't look it up at home.
Just
it's false.
Click the top links and
I'm
it'll
literally
search.
looking it up right now. I'll even do it on DuckDuckGo.
No, let's not.
No, I'm gonna.
This is how the channel gets banned, by the way.
DuckDuckGo.
I mean, the literal
Guys, we've
CEO of
been zapped already.
YouTube is in the tribe.
Can we get back to Gettr?
My point is
Yeah.
this. My point is about these artists. I understand that the record label owners, who, as we can see, are a mix of all ethnicities and heritages, right? They might be telling these rap artists, you need to rap about thug life and guns to make money, but they don't have to do it. These artists, at some point, they have to have responsibility for the music they're putting out.
Forgiato Blow pointed this out. He was getting a lot more hits and a lot more views when he was rapping about guns and drugs and women. And then
It's
as
a
soon as he
feedback
started,
loop.
and then he started rapping about MAGA, and it just dropped off. And other rappers have pointed this out too about when they rap about guns and drugs and whatnot, and then they rap about Christianity in their life, and it's just like a drop off. Nobody wants to publish their music. And Tech Nine still raps about gross stuff, but he actually had a very similar issue with his rapping. Is if they don't focus on these specific subjects, certain record labels aren't going to be carrying them. Radio stations are not going to play them. They're not going to get the same sort of interaction on social media as well through YouTube. They're not going to be pushed.
It's true. I think Adam's right in some ways. They are responsible because, and also society's affected. It's kind of like a web of interactions. What affects what, and yeah, they should be more responsible in the end of what they say.
That's what I'm saying.
I think it's the Mexicans that own all of it.
I actually got in trouble for saying it was the Brazilians one time. Instagram warned me It was a total joke.
Because the
and
Brazilians own the music industry?
yeah, that's what I said. And it was like, you might lose your account for this. Like, I was clearly joking. Why? What's going on here?
Maybe the Brazilians do own it, and they were like, don't.
It's like the
don't
silliest
let
thing.
anybody know. Dang Brazilians.
So Johnny Chavez says, great conversation again, guys. Intelligent people converse this way.
Is he a fan or being facetious?
I don't know.
Facetious.
I haven't seen his name before. Apocalypse Survivor says, the welfare system rewarding out of wedlock births is what destroyed the black community. That's definitely part of it.
Yeah, that's a major contributor for sure. I mean, not all of it, but it's a major contributor.
Apocalypse Survivor said, Grayson the beta is talking about your adopted parents, Adam.
Actually, his mother.
Yeah, just my mom. My mom, who is, by the way, Russian Sicilian Jew, which is kind of a unique mix.
You know, some say the Irish are not white.
Really? That's fine. I mean, I would consider them white by skin color, Irish by ethnicity. That's what I would say, right? And if they go sunbathing when they get red, then they're just red adults, right? Mike PBH says, I'm so racist that I'm going to watch air show videos. What's air show videos?
Live videos?
I don't know what air show videos is.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know. Noah Bradley says, our podcast tonight is making him want to drink.
Even before we were starting, I was like, too bad we don't have any bourbon, guys.
Yeah, we wanted to drink too.
Oh man, this podcast would get even crazier with some bourbon.
Yeah.
I could have read out and got some.
I'm going to check my comments, so don't look at me. Don't look at me.
Oh, you're going to check the comments?
While we have a little bit of a break, I'd like to say thank you very much to Ken Johnson for the $50 super chat.
Nice.
Shout out to Only Mr. Bill. Thank you for the super chat. And there's one more super chat that I got earlier from Brent Wells. Thank you guys for supporting our channel.
Sorry about that.
Ken Johnson is the man. He is a super supporter.
He is. So
Thank
again,
you.
thanks for supporting the channel and sending those super chats. This eventually will help to pay for the $50,000 studio. It's not $50,000, but
It's like 45,000.
No.
How much do you think that you've probably invested in the studio?
I don't like how we don't talk about who owns Hollywood. We
Yeah.
won't talk about how much was spent because my main sponsor is right outside the door watching.
We love him, and we got to give a big shout out. We got to get some
Daddy.
more of those videos for him made,
Yes.
which everybody should go check out. They're actually really informative. I think we should work with them on upping some of the quality, but at the same time, you do a great job with the video editing, and I really find them informative and fun to watch. So I like them.
Let's guys, you guys have the iPads. Let's play the latest one so we can give a shout out to Poem Daddy. Everybody who's watching.
Yeah, this is why you send super
go
chats.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead and subscribe over to Poem Daddy so we can get him a couple more subscribers because he's also one of the main sponsors for this entire operation. So guys, pull up somebody. Anybody?
I got
pulling
you.
up
I got you.
Don't do it for me. I'm looking at something else. I'm looking at myself.
Here you go. Poem Daddy's on my screen.
All right. So we got Poem Daddy. The latest one we did was Poland Loves Hungary. So let's go ahead and play for you guys that video. It's a short, just a minute and a half. I sent it to my mom
Which one?
the other
Poland
day.
Loves Hungary?
Yeah, I sent it to my mom the other day. She's like, oh, it looks nice. She's like, I'll finish it later. I'm like, Mom, it's only a minute and a half. What do you mean you haven't finished it?
Maybe she thought it was an hour 22.
The editing work is really good on this.
Here we go. Let's play this, guys. This is Poem Daddy.
Hi, my name is Marian Szczepański from Polish American Brotherhood. Hungary is a landlocked country in Central Europe. Its capital, Budapest, is bisected by the Danube River. Its cityscape is standard with architectural landmarks from Buda's medieval castle hill and grand classical buildings along the Pest Undersea Avenue to the 19th century
So cute.
chain bridge. Turkish and Roman influence on the Hungarian culture includes the popularity of a mineral spas,
I miss
including
Hungary.
a thermal lake Havits. Hungary is a small country of 26,000 square miles with population 10 million. Their president is János Ander, with strong leadership with Prime Minister Viktor Orban, who together with Polish brother Mateusz Morawiecki, opposing Brussels rule and keep their country's sovereignty. We wish Hungarian and Polish brothers to be prosper and stay strong. Hungary's brothers, Polish American brothers, loves you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, so everyone, please be sure to sub over to Poem Daddy. A like for that latest video. We gotta put out a Romanian video is next.
Bro, they're doing. He's doing 195 videos, one for each country.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's close out this. Get out of here. You're not a sponsor.
Joe Rogan is so good in conversation.
It's crazy. That's Joe Rogan. It's freaking crazy. So he did 4. He's got 191 more to go.
Yeah.
You mean I got 191 left to go?
Well, editing for you. He's got to do the videos. But I really liked how he pointed out that they're opposing Brussels rule. And when you look at the Visegrad group, and what would you say? Well, there's another word for their group of people, the 4 Cs?
The 3 Cs initiative.
The 3 Cs initiative, which includes the Visegrad group plus a couple other Eastern European countries. The EU people are probably like angry at me. I don't know the details. But when you have the European Union trying to exercise this extreme totalitarian power over these Eastern European nations, now they're trying to force Ukraine into the European Union with this homosexual actor who's currently leading the country, that is great to see that these Eastern Europeans are banding together to oppose this totalitarian dictatorship in Brussels. I mean, these people are not very smart over there in the EU that are representing, trying to force their ideas and this massive wave, an invasion of people into their countries. So I like that he pointed out that they're banding together to oppose the rule of Brussels. I like that.
Yeah, there were actually, so when Dad and I were in Poland, we actually attended a couple protests that were protesting the EU because they want to have the EU law reign supreme in the land, but the constitution of Poland, which was the first constitution in Europe and second in the world, clearly states that the Polish law is the supreme in the land, and that still supersedes the EU law.
Looking at how everything's working out for the Western European nations who've gone balls to the wall with the EU, I think that they're smart to have the Polish constitution be the law of the land over that, because we can look at results. Basically, we can look at results. And Poland's doing really well. UK, Brussels, Belgium, Germany, not so much. France isn't even France anymore.
Yeah.
That's what Trump said.
France is not France.
Yeah, we got that music video.
France has a third most nuclear weapons in the world.
And they're going to become an Islamic
Number
nation.
Number one is Russia. Number 2 is
not
U.S. And number 3 is France.
Welcome to the Islamic
I thought that was
State
interesting.
of France.
It's a recipe for disaster.
That France is third.
So guys, Grayson, you brought up Ukraine. That's probably the next topic we should
Oh my
do
gosh,
a
that's
hard
super
pivot.
toxic. That's super
Hard
toxic.
pivot
Well, my
over to-
post on Facebook and Twitter is triggering liberals right now.
All right,
Yeah, let's see that.
Let me let's see. Can I pull up my Facebook? Let's go to my private Facebook. Let's go to my personal Facebook for everybody, guys.
Let me know when you want me to bring that up onto the
So
screen.
first, yeah, you can pull it up now.
Cool.
This is on my personal Facebook, guys.
Look at his DMs. Who's
So,
sliding in there?
in case of a nuclear attack, make sure you're all wearing a protective mask. Keep your mask on, guys. Social distance. So maintain a 6 feet. And then get your anti-radiation vaccine. So just keep that in mind, guys, if we get a nuclear attack. Do these 3 steps.
Oh, man.
So here's the post. I wrote images of Kiev literally look like images of democratic cities during peaceful BLM protests. And I included these photos. This looks like a freaking war zone.
Yeah.
Look at this. This is from a protest. Look, this looks like a missile came in and attacked the building.
The Democrats said this was a mostly peaceful protest. This is the mostly peaceful part.
Look at this. And then people are getting offended by my statement that Kiev looks like BLM protests. This looks like war zones. Am I wrong?
You're right.
Look at this. Burned out cars, destroyed cars. And I got this one guy commenting on my post. He's been really... Where is it?
Everything is not what it seems.
No, not that guy. He's cool.
Oh.
This guy. What an ignorant and obtuse statement, even for you. This guy just comments negative stuff on all my posts.
Well, a lot of the liberals are driven by emotionalism, and we're seeing that a lot of the boomer conservatives are also driven by emotionalism. So they don't really want to put this into a rational way of thinking. They don't want to challenge their preconceived beliefs. They just want to be like, I know what's right, and this triggers me emotionally, so I'm going to respond that you're wrong in some way.
I'm going to plug Bald and Bankrupt on YouTube. He travels a lot through Soviet Russia.
What is it, Baldwin?
Bald and Bankrupt. Everyone knows him. He's the best, my favorite travel vlogger. He's traveled to India, South America, Eastern European countries like Ukraine, and he gets asked all the time, what's the most dangerous country he's ever been to? Like, oh, it must be dangerous going to all these weird, poor countries. Like, no. The most unsafe I've ever felt is, I'm going to say it, like majority Democratic cities in America. That's the most dangerous he's ever felt. He never said Democrat, but he's mentioned a few cities, and they're all Democratic. Yeah.
Now, what are the demographics for majority Democrat cities? The specific ones that he mentioned. What are the racial demographics within that? I'd be interested to look at it because
it's places where BLM runs free. Let's just say that.
All right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Top cities of crime. I know that 19 of 20 of them are Democrats.
Yeah.
One of them is Republican. I think it's Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, I remember that one.
These countries like Ukraine, I mean, yeah, you're right to compare it to like BLM, the war zones, because BLM really did a number on those cities. It really is fair to compare.
It is, and these leftists get super triggered by that.
I think they understand at a subconscious level that there is a racial demographic quotient to that, and they don't want to address it.
I don't know if I can't find that chart that I wanted to find.
You got to go to DuckDuckGo if you want to look up demographics. Google's going to be censoring a lot of that.
That needs deep search.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to
DuckDuckGo crime by.
I just have a folder on my computer with all that information and links.
Oh, I got it on my phone right now.
Yeah, because it's going to take you like hours sometimes to find the specific study or whatever.
And an interesting thing, the FBI actually went back and retroactively edited their 2018 database, and they're doing it now with their 2019, 2020, 21, 22 databases about crime statistics, of where they are conflating racial demographics in order to downplay certain other races that have a predominant, a disproportionate amount in certain crimes. They're trying to downplay it and make it more racially equal by lying about the stats. And people have noticed that they're retroactively editing the databases.
I just click view file. Here it is. So I don't know. San Antonio and Las Vegas are independent. I don't think that's true. I'm pretty sure Las Vegas is Democrat.
Yeah, that's deep blue Democrat.
And San Antonio is, maybe that one's red.
It's Texas.
I don't even know what year this is.
But Austin is Texas also. They're pretty blue.
San Antonio is kind of blue, wouldn't you say?
Maybe because it's a city, yeah. San Antonio.
Cities tend to be
New
blue.
York makes a lot of sense because one of my Hasidic Jew friends, Chaim, he was telling me about that. The majority of the assaults and the robberies against the Jewish community come from black New Yorkers. And I just thought that was really interesting that he said it. And he's just like, it's not the Asians out there that are pushing us on the train tracks and stealing from us. And I'm like,
the Asians are the ones being pushed.
Yeah. And him being Jewish, he actually had to move to Florida, a more less diverse community here, in order to avoid being at risk of murder and theft. So I think New York, you'll find that it's very specific communities within New York because that's a massive city.
So Ron Nierenberg is the mayor of San Antonio, and he is a independent.
Oh, cool.
So we actually have an independent mayor in the country. That's pretty awesome. Leading a big city.
That's a respectable feat to pull here.
Yeah, look at that. So here you go, guys. As you can see, it's mostly blue cities, and then I love when leftists always go, "Yeah, but most cities are blue." It's like, bro, that doesn't change anything. Mm-hmm. It doesn't change the fact that they brainwashed these massive populations that just can't break the spell.
Well, it's not. I don't want to focus just on the blue part. I want to say some of the states and cities we have in America are more dangerous than some of these war zones in Europe. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, where would you rather be? Would you rather be in Kiev or would you rather be in Detroit? Which one would you feel safer?
Not right now, but generally Kiev.
I still think that's safer than Detroit. Yeah, still.
And Sam's Ukrainian.
I'm not going to drive through Detroit with my windows down waving a stack of cash.
Sam, you're Ukrainian?
Yeah, I was born there.
Oh, wow. Do you have family in Ukraine?
Yeah.
Have you talked to them at all?
We're on the west, so we're not affected really.
Okay.
Not yet.
You think it's going to get that far? Do you know?
I don't think so.
Don't go to my screen yet. I'm going to pull up a clip that I saved, but it was on Trey Gowdy's show just recently, and the guy made a really good point about what's happening in Ukraine. So I'm just going to find that real quick.
Do it. Yeah, I'm looking at demographics of crime, and the problem is, and I've spoken about this on other shows before, other podcasts we've done, it's very difficult sometimes in this climate to talk about facts without sounding like a racist when those facts skewed a certain way. Like if you're literally reading FBI data and you're pointing it out,
Yeah.
people are going to be like, that's anti whatever of you.
Yeah.
I mean, Tara, pull up on, yeah, you can pull the screen up. I just literally Googled crime by ethnicity USA.
Yeah.
Just crime ethnicity USA. I didn't put any other qualifiers in. I just put that in. And the first sentence on Google, according to the FBI, African Americans accounted for 56% of all homicides in 2019, with whites 41% and other 3% where their race was known.
And that's with them being a minority in the country.
Right, but the thing is, if I go out and I say African Americans account for 55% of homicides while only representing 13% of the population, the left says that pointing that out is racist.
Yeah. Just
And it's like,
just put the carpet under the rug.
and I'm
Just
like,
hide it.
but how do we address issues of any kind if
just run away?
We just don't. If we just don't address the facts of the situation.
Yeah.
There's a lot of black leaders in that community that are really upset that the fact that people want to be so politically correct that they're not addressing this crime. They're allowing this victimization to go on within their communities because they don't want to look racist. But they're like, we need the police. We need heavy-handed crackdowns of what's going on because you let the crime get so bad. And they're really upset the fact that nobody has the backbone to address these problems head on, and they want to just nickel toe around
Grayson,
it.
it's like you were being assaulted by that Gettr guy, and then you call for the police, and you're like, I'm being assaulted. And they're like, no, you're not. We don't see it. Just ignore it.
I do want to say the police did stop me today for blasting through a red light.
Blasting through a red light?
I mean,
Yeah.
blasting through a
You
stop sign. Stop
you
sign.
downplayed
Stop sign.
that on the phone.
No, it was a stop sign. I'm sorry. It was a stop sign.
This guy's running reds.
Let me just say this. She was a white officer, female. I'm a Mexican. I was wearing my Let's Go Brandon hat with my Trump sticker. And guess what? She just gave me a warning. It was very polite. It was kind. It was calm.
That's nice.
I actually filmed the whole interaction. I didn't curse her out. I didn't go, what are you doing? Why are you stopping me? No, I just said, hello, officer. How can I help you? Very pleasant.
what's
She
your
said,
number?
I'm just going to give you a warning today. Just make sure you slow down with the stop signs.
You just kind of unbutton the top of your shirt and you're like, can I get a warning?
I said, that's great to hear. That's great to hear.
Yeah.
As you were saying, a lot of our justice system today, they're scared of being racist and they're trying to be like very, pro-minority. And the problem is that does end up in deaths of innocent people in cities, right? Because you have these women in America, in New York, for example, there are 3 Asian women that got killed in the past month. 3 Asian American women. Michelle Go is one of them. Christina Yuna Lee is the other one. And now there was a third one. I'm forgetting the name right now. But they were all killed by men with criminal records. They all had priors. All of them. All had priors.
This is in New York, you said?
This is New York. And just last week, a grandmother, 62-year-old grandmother, was hit in the head with a rock, with a brick, by a Latino male. Right? His last name is Perez, so I'm guessing he's Latino. I looked at his picture. He's kind of similar skin color to me. Killed a grandmother. Completely random act of violence. And these people all have priors. But when you're in New York, they just catch and release. Catch and release.
It's actually worse. Can I plug Jared? Our friend Jared? Grayson.
If you got to ask, then no.
Okay.
Anyways, hard pivot. We were talking about Ukraine. I had the video here. Let's move on from this subject. We were talking about, Sam, you're from the west part, and this Army Colonel, Douglas McGregor, brings up a good point on Trey Gowdy, because a lot of these neocons are wanting war. They want war. We gotta fight and send all these people to their deaths. But really, this is all a manufactured incident. So I'm just going to play this.
Here is Colonel Doug McGregor, a former senior advisor to the Secretary of Defense. Thank you for joining us. Why do you think Putin is doing this? What is his end game?
Well, Vladimir Putin is carrying through on something that he's been warning us about, at least for the last 15 years, which is that he will not tolerate U.S. forces or their missiles on his borders, much as we would not tolerate Russian troops and missiles in Cuba. And we ignored him, and he finally acted. He was not going to allow Ukraine under any circumstances to join NATO. And what's happened now is that the battle in eastern Ukraine is really almost over. All the Ukrainian troops there have been largely surrounded and cut off. You have a concentration down in the southeast of 30 to 40,000 of them. And if they don't surrender within the next 24 hours, I suspect that the Russians will ultimately annihilate them. That's why Zelensky is meeting with Putin's representatives right now, the game is over. And he's going to have to negotiate the best deal he can get. And we've already told him, the President of the United States has, that if he opts for neutrality for Ukraine, we'll back him. And I think that Vladimir Putin will do that for Western Ukraine. That is the Ukraine beyond the Dnieper River. But behind it in the east, where he is now, I'm not sure what he has planned there, whether he forms another republic, annexes it into Russia, because historically it has been Russian. But the territory west of Ukraine is not. He knows that, and he's happy to live with that as a neutral state.
I am not a military expert. I'm not even an expert on geography. But if he takes Ukraine and Ukraine abuts Poland, then he's going to have a NATO country abutting him. So if that's what he doesn't want, then isn't he going to just have to keep going until he runs out of NATO countries?
I guess I should say it again. He has no interest in crossing the Dnieper and heading west to the Polish border. I think you're going to find from these negotiations he's quite willing to neutralize that territory on the Austrian or the Finnish model. Right now, Russia already touches Estonia and part of Latvia. White Russia, of course, touches Lithuania. He's not interested in going to war with us, and he has an army that's too small for that purpose. And he knows it. His economy is smaller than that of South Korea's. So this is not something that he's looking for. We are imputing to him things that he does not want to do in our usual effort to demonize him and his country. We need to remember that Ukraine is fourth from the bottom of 158 countries in the world as corrupt. Russia is perhaps 3 or 4 places above them. This is not the liberal democracy, the shining example that everyone says it is. Far from it. Mr. Zelensky has jailed journalists and his political opposition. I think we need to stay out of it. The American people think we should stay out of it. The Europeans think we should stay out of it. And we should stop shipping weapons and encouraging Ukrainians to die in what is a hopeless endeavor.
So when you say stay out of it, you mean no sanctions, no military aid, just let Russia take the portion of Ukraine they want to take?
Yes, absolutely. I see no reason why we should fight with the Russians over something that they have been talking about for years. We simply chose to ignore it. And more important, the population there is indistinguishable from their own. You know, the thing that's so disturbing is that on the one hand, we will not send our forces to fight, but we are urging Ukrainians to die pointlessly in a fight they can't win. We're going to create a far worse humanitarian disaster than anything you've seen thus far if it doesn't stop.
True.
Thank you for joining us.
I would agree with that, actually.
Yeah, retired U.S. Army Colonel Douglas McGregor. That's who it was. He was talking about the Russia-Ukraine conflict.
It's crazy. Got to credit, though, to the Ukraine soldiers. They don't even have helmets. Have you noticed that in the photos?
I see in photos them sending women.
They just have wool caps.
A lot of what we are seeing in the Western media, the American media, is lies, and it's been pretty obvious that liberal journalists are actually repeating insane lies. What did they say? Bring up that tweet about Sam Hyde.
Oh yeah, I got to bring that up. Give me a minute.
Yeah, so Sam Hyde's this online running internet joke of where something will happen that's violent or includes guns or something like that, and they'll Photoshop Sam Hyde's picture into it, and they'll make a little twist on his name to be more within the culture or the geographic location where it's coming from, and they'll be like, you know, Sam Hyde whatever is the Ghost of Kiev, or however you pronounce that name. And they'll see if the liberal media or just regular media will run with it because it's a really funny joke. So it gets pushed, and an actually big-time journalist ended up in a very serious fashion posting about Sam Hyde, saying that he praises this Ukrainian for standing up against the Russians. And other people have noticed indiscrepancies in the media that are coming out, that they're running pictures of people from previous engagements with Ukraine from going back to 2014, 2015. They're running clips and pictures from movies that have been made. So a lot of this is coming out that we're seeing in the media about Russia and Ukraine is pretty much just propaganda. A lot of it's lies, and a lot of these so-called journalists and reporters are falling for it.
It's true. I'm sending you the
oh, you're gonna send it
the
to
video.
me?
Yeah, you can pull it up. It's should be on the tablet there, but it's true. Yeah, I didn't even believe this tweet because it's so ridiculous. But some of the mainstream media falls for this stuff in times of like chaos. They really do. It's obviously Photoshop.
And also, I heard that there were the Ukrainian soldiers who were on Snake Island, whose final words were "Go F yourself."
What's
Oh,
Snake
yeah.
Island? I didn't hear about
I
this.
did.
There was 13 soldiers that apparently Russian soldiers said stand down or surrender.
Yep, I heard
and they said go F yourself, and they were killed. And so the president Zelensky said he was going to give them like the hero of Ukraine honor.
Yeah, they said a little worse than F yourself, but yes.
Right,
basically.
but now there's stories coming out that they did surrender, and that they're actually being held hostage.
That's all right.
By Russians, and now no one knows what's the truth.
People need to understand that Zelensky, the current president of Ukraine, actually is a very big, strong promoter of homosexuality. He did a lot of music videos and dance, and he actually starred in a movie where he pretended to be the president.
Well, he was an actor, right?
Yeah.
And now he's doing acting again. He's not a very competent or intelligent man. He just does what he's told. A lot of actors, and you'll see it, they learn their lines, they do what they're told to say, and that's why they're being chosen now for these positions in this extremely corrupt country, so they can play the part and be the puppet of whoever's controlling them. But I had the video up, so we're ready to watch that. Liberal News, it's a little blurred, Adam Kissinger, says the Ghost of Kiev has a name, and he has absolutely owned the Russian Air Force. Godspeed and more kills, Samuel.
Kinzinger then attached an obviously photoshopped image of the comedian Sam Hyde sitting in the cockpit of a fighter jet. Sam Hyde, for the record, is not a Ukrainian fighter ace. He is, once again, a comedian. That was Adam Kinzinger. These are the people pushing us toward a new world war. So Kinzinger then attached...
That's true.
Yeah, so we have these crazy people that one of them actually fell for the Sam Hyde meme. And this is just the tip of the iceberg for the propaganda and the fake news that's being pushed on us in concerns to this. I feel, outside of the Ukraine-Russia conflict, that this is all a big misdirection because people, the honking in Canada, they do not want authoritarian, totalitarian control over their nations. We have had 2 weeks of lockdowns turn into 2 years. All of this happened on February 22nd. It's insane what's going on in this country.
Yeah, George just commented how like we need to focus more on the coronavirus now that they admit that it's been made in a lab rather than Ukraine. You can't forget.
Did they admit that, or did they just entertain that a little bit?
Well, she's talking about the Moderna.
Project Veritas exposed it.
Are you talking about the Moderna information?
Not sure from.
So basically, there was an article that came out on Daily Mail that spoke about how Moderna patented part of the virus in 2016. So mRNA. Let's go to Moderna. Patented COVID.
So whoever's behind all this is willing to start World War III
Here it is.
to cover it up.
So this is from the Weather Channel, which is surprising that they're commenting on this.
The Weather Channel?
Yeah, weather.com. But new study finds COVID-19 DNA linked to Moderna patent filed in 2016 sparks discussion on lab leak theory. So apparently they say there's a 1 in trillion chance for this specific 12-letter code to be produced by nature that Moderna copyrighted 3 years before. So what do you believe? That this happened in nature by 1 in a trillion chance? Or that it was patented by Moderna and then deployed in a lab or edited in a lab, whatever you want to call it, manipulated. Bottom line is this was made in the lab. We all know that.
Yeah, Project Veritas did the release for it.
Yeah, we're not allowed to put those on our channel as we get a little strike skis from the YouTube.
So we should move on from this subject.
That's right.
Because we're on the wrong platform for free speech. If you look at who owns it.
That's right. That's right. And all I know is that the Big G has, they funded some research in this world. So that could be why Google did everything they could early on to suppress the story of the lab leak theory, which is the truth. And as Alan Daniel says, the plan. That's right.
Can we go back to the Ukraine thing? Because we pivoted a little bit.
Yeah,
we're all over the place tonight.
The media.
There's so much going on.
What do you guys think about this Ghost of Kiev thing?
I actually don't know a lot about it.
It's a massive meme on the internet.
I think it's it's complete lies.
We gotta look it up. I haven't heard of it yet.
Yeah, basically, Grayson, you can take it.
No, you're gonna go for it.
Basically, they have this almost Marvel level superhero they call the Ghost of Kiev. Apparently, he's just annihilating Russian fighter jets left and right, and they're always coming up with new reports every day, like how many he's killed that day. And I don't think there's any evidence for it, but people keep reporting on it like it's some sort of Marvel superhero. It's ridiculous.
It's an internet meme. People have found out that those in power in the media are dumb. They're idiots. So they're emboldened to make these memes to see which ones are going to be reported by the news as fact.
Did you find it, Adam?
I found the video about him. People call him the Ghost of Kiev. So apparently this footage right here that we're watching is from a video game.
No way.
Yeah.
You're joking.
No, it's manipulative. Video game footage right here.
Is there even a war going on? Most likely not. There's a movie called Wag the Dog.
Yeah.
Which a lot of this is, it's actually insane how close Wag the Dog is happening. Where in the movie they create a false war for the American people. They sell it through the media. They create false war heroes to bring out an interview. And it's an entire movie exploring government corruption, the manipulation of people through the media. And we're seeing a lot of that right now in real time with Ukraine and Russia. And a lot of these midwits who are being sucked into it. They believe it. And that they're actually furthering our lockstep into World War III, which is extremely bad. The same people who want us to still wear masks.
I think this comes full circle. Go ahead, Adam.
Well, I was just going to say that it's from a video game called DCS. It's an air combat simulation.
Okay.
And that's the scary part. They're using video game footage, and so many people are sharing it as if it's legit footage
That's
from a
what
war.
North Korea did, actually.
It's unbelievable.
Propaganda.
And then Zelensky, the soldier, there's a famous photo of him, right? Walking like that photo of him, like right here, these photos of him.
Do you want me to pull it up?
Yeah, pull it up. This photo right here, this photo's from 2011.
Really?
This photo right here of him. That's been the famous photo.
Oh, man.
So like he might be no, I'm gonna say he probably is with his army and troops and supporting his team, right? But the photos they're using are from 2011. So it's just like, why would you do that? Just use a real photo of him from the actual war.
Yeah.
It
If there's one thing I think Trump did that he kind of red pilled people on is the media's fake news, right? It's
Yeah.
one of the catchphrases. I think a lot of people, even lefties, I think would recognize how fake the news is.
It's like the kids in cages that came out when they were claiming that it was under Trump, but it was really under Obama. Old photos.
Yeah, that stuff is ridiculous.
And then we also have the Iraq War, the 2003 invasion. And before that, we had he's in front of Congress held the vial of supposed weapons of mass destruction, where he's like, this is how close they are with weapons of mass destruction. We went into Iraq. They thought there were weapons of mass destruction. There were none. And that was a big, fat mistake.
It was. And I think because the mainstream media is dying, they have to they reuse old photos. They fall for memes that are obviously photoshopped. I think they're going to die in the next few decades for sure.
We're the news now.
We are the news. And here's where it comes full circle with Gettr. Because they wanna be one of the head honchos in this new emerging industry, this new emerging thing, where people's knowledge comes from other real people, not a corporation.
I think that the news needs Trump back. I think they need back. CNN needs him back. They need the ratings. They need the views. They need the clicks. They need the rage bait.
Yeah.
They need Trump back.
Biden's boring, man.
Biden's boring because they're all defending him.
What
You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I think the world needs Trump back. I don't think Russia would have invaded Ukraine if Trump was president. I think that's pretty obvious.
Biden's a disaster. Massive.
But he's got 37% approval rating.
This Ukraine thing, I'm going to say this Ukraine thing would never happen if Trump was still around.
No.
I think somebody would, can I say the word kill?
Yeah.
Somebody would assassinate Trump before he let something like this happen. That's more likely to me.
I mean, I've seen some conspiracy theories online that there's been many attempts.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's scary to hear. Like, it's terrifying.
My favorite, I know we were talking about this earlier, my favorite thing is the North Korea thing. No one's been in that country from America for what? Several decades at least, right?
Yeah. Well, nobody of importance. They still had tourists that go through your great risk, but nobody of importance had been in there for several decades.
That was unbelievable, and people were saying he's going to start World War III, and he's literally having peace talks with North Korea. Petting Kim Jong-un on the shoulder like a brother.
He just walked by. He just walked in.
The president of
It was
South
amazing.
Korea actually thanked him for opening a dialogue about that too. And I was talking to some leftist reporter at CPAC, and he was upset and was like, "You really think that mattered?" And I'm like, "Yeah." The president of South Korea was thankful that there was a dialogue opened up, and that Kim Jong-un came across the demilitarized zone and actually was willing to speak with them and talk about reconciliation. That's a huge step forward for these two nations who used to be one.
It's true. Trump would have been de-escalating things at least.
Yeah, and what is the Abraham Accords? Adam knows a lot about it. President Trump, first term, within 4 years, and everybody knows I'm not a big supporter of Israel. I got criticisms there. But within 4 years, he was able to get a lot of these nations who have problems with Israel, who want to start wars and have this eternal conflict, get them to the negotiating table and actually sign peace deals with all these nations, which goes to show that much of the conflict going on there was artificial to begin with. If President Trump was able to do it within his first term, I mean, it's absolutely insane. And I think that this conflict right here is being manipulated. It is fake. There are actually real people dying, but there are people there who are manipulating this into a war when it's not even what it's supposed to be. They're doing the same thing that they're doing to all these Middle Eastern nations, but they're doing it to Ukraine and Russia now.
So I wrote this post on my Instagram story. I think it sums up where the country would be if Trump was still president. Tell me if any of you disagree here. Inflation would be lower. We all agree with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Gas prices would be lower.
Way lower.
It's about to hit $7 in LA, by the way. Congratulations to them. Crime would be lower.
Yeah.
Illegal border crossings would be lower.
For sure.
Taxes would be lower. Racism would be lower.
Yeah.
There would be fewer pronouns. Russia wouldn't have attacked Ukraine. Mandates would be lower. Vaccine passports wouldn't be in concept. And the Afghan soldiers would still be alive, the 13 that died. We can't forget about them. So
Biden blunders.
this is pretty accurate, right?
It is. You're right.
Afghanistan was worse than the fall of Saigon. People are pointing out that this is this is a historical event. His Afghanistan blunder is just like, this is going to color America for over 100 years. It makes Saigon, everyone's going to forget about that now.
Yeah, the images were so similar too with the helicopters. Mm-hmm. They look exactly the same as Saigon.
They had Afghanis falling off the airplanes as they took off. I'm like,
nuts.
This is not American what's going on. Number one, we should have never brought all of these Afghanis in, majority Afghani men. And number two, we should have never withdrawn in that exact fashion. There should have been a plan that was set up. Biden was like, get out day one because he doesn't want to do the Trump plan of it withdrawing. We should withdraw from that country. We should not have troops there. But there was a way to do it, and the way that Biden went about it caused the maximum amount of carnage and chaos. It also left behind billions of dollars of equipment, essentially equipped Afghanistan, the people we were fighting against, with modern American war equipment.
So the one thing that you mentioned is like, yeah, when people are coming into this country, like we need to screen them properly. I think we could all agree with that, right? Like know who's coming into our country. And the problem is, and Tara, we spoke about this on other streams, some people, and again, this is not speaking to the overall Afghanistan country, but there are just some people in certain countries that have certain behaviors that are not allowed here, especially in very male-dominant societies, right, where women don't have as many rights, for example, or they have Sharia law, or homosexuality, you could be killed or stoned to death. Like these are their cultural things that's what they grew up in. And so you see stories like this happening here. Afghan refugee convicted of sexually assaulting a 3-year-old girl. This is avoidable, in my opinion, if we had proper screening in place to make sure we knew who was coming into the country.
That's not cultural. That's criminal. And in these Islamic
That's what I'm
nations,
trying to say.
Somebody like that would have been stoned to death.
But like we talked about other streams, like the Japan age of consent is 13. In Japan, the national age of consent is 13. Do you know that, Sam?
Yes, I did.
So if you have somebody who's in Japan who's used to 13, they come here, well, they have to understand that our laws are different.
No, but it's different. Okay, so in China, me and Grayson, we both spent some time in China. In China, it's a little bit different. The age of consent is also, I believe, 13. Is that right, Gray?
It's pretty low.
It's very low, but it's not. They see things completely differently. All right, it's like they have like different views on things. So it's not like you can sleep with a 13-year-old as an adult. It's more like a power thing, right? So it's if they are old and they have authority over you, then you can't sleep with them, even if they're 16. Doesn't matter. So the 13 thing is different.
They have a lot of cultural identity and cultural rules that preclude that from happening.
Yeah.
So even though it's like legally allowable in China, the community would probably murder you and the police would probably be like, "Oh, we
Yeah.
don't care what you're arguing about the law.
Yeah.
You disrupted the harmony of the nation, so they'll still throw you in jail."
So, but here it is in Japan. I have it up on the just so to fact check. First thing on Google, age of 13 years old.
I imagine I haven't been to Japan and I haven't lived in Japan for an extended period of time.
My
but I
point
imagine
is,
it's very similar in Japan, of where they have cultural precepts they allow the community, and if you disrupt the harmony, I don't think the law really matters so much. The police are still going to.
So maybe it's like more socially enforced.
Yeah, it's different. I can't even
Right. But here it's similar too. Like if as a 38-year-old male, if I were to bring home an 18-year-old, for example,
Yeah, that would be
frowned upon.
Yeah, but legally,
people
you'd be
even in the
fine.
U.S. would say, "Oh, that's creepy. You're dating an 18-year-old," even though it's totally legal. And even if I were to date a 21-year-old, people would still find that creepy at my age, at 38.
Yeah.
You know, I think maybe women my age would say that because maybe they'd be jealous.
Yeah, count backwards
But-
from 38 to 18.
No, I agree. I do agree. That's too young for someone who's 38 years old. Just simply because you can't go to the bar with them. I mean, just for that reason alone, you can't go and have drinks.
Bring the bar to them.
That's illegal. You can't get someone who's technically an alcohol minor drunk.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. But to me, you know, we talk about this a lot. I think 26 is a good sweet spot for 38-year-olds. 25, 26. Sam gave a little look.
Adam's like seeking approval from our YouTube audience.
No, I'm seeing from Sam. Sam, how old are you?
31 now.
What's the youngest girl that you would like openly date? Like make her your girlfriend?
46.
I haven't even thought about it.
The youngest I've dated openly was 22 when I was 35.
That's so weird.
Yeah, that's the youngest I went. Like
I think
open, you know, as a
Leonardo
girlfriend.
DiCaprio's oldest girlfriend is 25. That's the oldest one he's ever had, and he has like 24 or something.
And then they're washed up for him, and he's like,
Pretty much.
Oh my god. Let's not play that game we played off the stream earlier. How much money would you need?
Oh
No.
no.
Yes, yes.
I have a great
guys.
picture. I have a great picture up.
All right, let me
And I
grab it.
think it's a good ending for our live stream if we're ready to do that.
It's already 12:30. Holy crap!
Yeah.
I got to get some food too.
That's me. Looking super handsome. Are we able to make that bigger? No,
That's a nice photo of you, Grayson.
Yeah, I'm just there sitting at the pool. It's the last day of CPAC. I'm on the phone talking with one of the Pure Politics employees, and it's just a great day. I mean, look how beautiful that is.
Were you moving and shaking?
What?
It's like an expression, right? Moving and shaking.
Like
Is that
I-
not an expression?
Like I'm having an epileptic attack or something?
No, like, you know, you're like a mover and a shaker. Like you're making moves in the world.
Oh, I guess you could say that. I just mostly see it as I'm doing my part. I'm building the Pure Politics brand, and we're getting people out there to expose the truth. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, at the risk of being assassinated for calling
Yeah.
Gettr out. So.
Hell yeah.
Which started this whole live stream. That guy's insane. Yeah, don't trust Gettr. If you say something bad to them, they are going to send assassins out to your house to attack you in real life.
I want to give a shout out to wrap up the show to Scootercaster on Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. She's been following Ukraine on the ground.
Yeah, she's
Really?
there. I was
Yeah.
when I was talking to her earlier, she said that there was like three. It would be almost a lot of people are trying to leave, and possibly like, 3 days on foot.
Look at this little puppy guard dog in Ukraine. His name is Rambo, they called him.
That's how dangerous it is there, by the way. They got puppy
But look at
guard
him.
dogs.
Look how cute he is. Oh my God, he's adorable. So shout out to Scootercaster. I also want to give out a shout out to Adam Barr, one of my OGs. He sends me a lot of great content on Instagram, a lot of great memes. Thank you, Adam Barr. And your beautiful, beautiful girlfriend, Chica Guapa. And Ken Johnson for the super chat. Obviously, you are always appreciated here at the T&A Show. Oh, look at the little dog moving around. He's so cute. Thank you, Sam, for joining us. Do you want to shout out your Instagram or?
No, I'm good.
You know people finding you.
No.
All right,
good.
guys.
My pleasure, though.
You can't find Sam, so sorry about that.
Sam's the ghost of Kiev.
Yeah, that's me. Samuel.
Sam's the ghost of Kiev.
He's the ghost
maybe
of the
he's
T&A
real,
Show.
maybe he's not. Ghost of the T&A Show, yeah.
Shout out to Cody. He's reminded me to take my beet powder, which I will be taking after this stream.
Your bee pollen?
Beet powder.
Beet powder. It's good for vasodilation.
Bee powder?
That's right. I have high blood pressure, so I need it. It opens up the capillaries.
Like, what do they do? They get a bee, they dry it out, and they smash it up into a powder?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much, actually.
You've actually nailed it.
That's so weird. Just get
That's
bee
what they
pollen.
do. That's what they do. And for those you want to follow Grayson, shout yourself out, Grayson. Where do we find you?
everywhere. I'm on every social media app. I am banned from all of them. So go ahead and try and follow me. It'll be fun for you to try.
You can find him at official Pure Politics on Telegram, which is the #1 spot where he uploads content, or American Grayson, or Official Pure Politics on Instagram.
GREYSON.
That's right. And Gettr, John, I didn't meet you. I didn't have the pleasure of meeting you, or Kingsley.
Yeah.
I didn't have the pleasure of meeting either of you. But if you guys are watching,
you met the CEO.
I didn't know. I met Jason Miller, but I didn't meet Kingsley or John.
Oh yeah, Jason Miller. That's who I was.
I'm not involved.
For some reason.
I'm not involved in the drama.
We met the CEO.
But my advice to you guys would be prepare talking points next time. So when someone comes at you with like legit feedback about your platform,
my advice is don't assassinate people with differing opinions.
Don't assault
exactly.
people.
You don't say that you were
people.
assaulted when you were just
verbally assaulted.
You were debated. You were debated. That's all it was.
Have your employees tell the truth. Don't spread rumors and lies. Just
you were actually there listening to some of their rumors.
Yeah,
it was kind of. That's why I had to put out the video, because these people are trying to rewrite what actually happened. And I'm just like, let's put out the video. Let's talk about it. Let's get the truth out there, because these people are just like absolute liars. Gettr is not sending their best.
They are. You can't have a truth platform and then just lie about the most basic interactions. Come on.
That's right. And then Tara, where do we find you?
You guys can always find me on the Polish American Brotherhood. That's me, the leader of the international group of the Polish American Brotherhood. Just kidding. You can find us on YouTube, Polish American Brotherhood, and Poam Brotherhood is the handle on all social media networks across the board, except for Gettr. You won't be finding me there.
Sorry.
And then I'm on TikTok, Adam Francisco 248, because I was shadow banned twice. No, banned twice. Be Free My Sheeple on Instagram.
Bring up my picture.
And then Adam Francisco on YouTube and Rumble.
That's Jason Miller. Jason Miller, CEO of Gettr. He's saying, get on Gab. Gab is a free speech platform. So thank you everybody for joining us tonight on the T&A and Little G show with special guest Sam Hyde.
You made the CEO of Gettr say get on Gab. Who did that?
On the back.
Who did that? When could you send it to me? When did you do that?
I'll send it to you.
That's really funny.
It's a great show tonight, everybody.
Fantastic, guys.
Yeah, great show tonight. I hope we don't get banned. All right, guys.
Good night.
Gripers, yeah. Shout out to Nick Fuentes. You are now watching the T&A Show, sponsored by the Griper Movement.